Hey everybody, it's Derek with The Ultimate Hang, and I just want to do a quick video looking at some more drip lines and drip rings. I was out doing some photography for some illustrations for my book, and was out here camping in my backyard and thought, hey, why not do a quick video on some of these drip rings that I was illustrating. So here on the left we have, this is the Clark Jungle Hammock. It's an aluminum ring that you can see is just wrapped around. It's designed to go around this type of line suspension. This is a sheath spectra, and there's also this ring suspension. This is just a descender ring that's been wrapped, and this is not as common of a suspension connection. Some people worry about water, that when you have an exposed suspension line, am I going to get soaked? Is it going to run down? And it's not very common that happens. You'd have to have a lot of water. I have had that happen in some cases where I've had a strap suspension that really carried a lot of water down, and it was such a heavy downpour that the water was just pouring down the trunk of a tree, and it was amazing. So having a drip line or a drip ring of some kind can help to arrest that water and prevent it from coming all the way down. Now what you want to do, of course, is make sure that these drip lines or drip rings are covered under your tarp so that they don't get soaked. So really the water only goes as far as that drip line and then goes down. So let me put down the tripod here and show you what happens when we have a lot of water coming down. You can see the water that's adhering to the line. Now I've already pre-soaked these just so it speeds up that process, but when you have that rain coming down, now you can see this Clark ring actually does a pretty good job because of the way it twists. Oh, where is it? There we go. Because of the way it twists the rope, it prevents some of that line jumping that in my other video is common with some hardware devices that we think are going to arrest the water but don't. All right, now let's skip over and show. We're going to have to jump the line a little bit. So this descender ring is kind of an interesting case, because as I found in my testing before, let me put down this suspension hardware doesn't always behave the way we want it to. Like in this case, it's kind of laying horizontally, and in this case you can see the water gets to a certain point and it does tend to get cut off right there. If I put more tension on the hammock, you can see how that drip ring twists. And it's these times where you start to see the kind of line jumping. But this one so far has done pretty good at stopping the water, because again, water's looking for that lower point and it tends to stop and go off. So this ring suspension actually does a pretty good job. Okay, I got my son sitting in the hammock now, so you can see that once weight is applied, this ring, which was when the hammock was unweighted, it was kind of laying across horizontally, but once I've got it weighted, you can see that it comes down almost vertically now. So I want to see how that changes its ability to stop the water. So we're going to apply some more water to see if it keeps it from flowing down. Well, so far so good. It tends to get right on that low point, and then it is not flowing over. Now eventually that line is going to get soaked, but because it's still pretty low, let's see if we'll put more pressure on it. I'm not seeing any water further down the line though. More pressure, more pressure, more pressure. Yep. So in that pretty unscientific test, I would say that this does a pretty good job. And last but not least, we're going to try the Humble drip line and see how that works. We're going to try to put that drip line right there. See if I can get the camera angle just right. All right, now let's see how well it does under the water. You can see that water coming down the line. That drip ring. I'm not doing myself any favors because I'm... Alright, I'm just going to put the water directly on. Trying to prevent splashing so you can kind of see how that works. There you go. You can see the water flowing down, hitting that drip line, and dripping right off the end. You can see it gets soaked. It actually does a really good job. Now, what I've done here too, let me stop that water. The way that I've tied this, so it's just tied in this is a fisherman's knot right there in the center. And that's what I use too, is I pull, this is just a basic lark's head. And that knot, that creates a nice big stopper. Because you could tie it the other way where the knot goes through the loop like that. And it's just not I want to have a little bit bigger stopper here. And you also want to make sure that it's nice and tight so that the water hits that and it flows down. So let's see how this one does. We'll put the water back on it. So it's still doing a pretty good job. Got a lot of water hitting that knot and keeping it from flowing down. So again, this is often been what I recommend. It's super simple, it's cheap, but you really need to make sure that this is tied. In my other video, some people complained that they saw water skipping here. And again, one of the reasons why is that in that video, I wasn't testing this line. It was actually further down, and I just had it kind of hanging there. If you just let it hang there, there is the possibility that water can basically flow. You can see that the water just flows right through it. So the important thing about these drip lines is you want to have it really snugged up tight, and before you go to bed, make sure that you've got a nice long lead, and if that's the case, these drip lines do a really good job of preventing water from flowing down into your hammock. But again, make sure you do it right, and it's pretty simple. You can see that drip line does a really good job. Again, you can make sure that the video is, there you go. So it's a lot of water coming right off that drip line. Anyway, have a great one, guys.